Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to weather some wheels. Now, we're not going to go crazy on it or anything. We're just going to throw on some flat rust, which is what we have here with a small bottle of testers. Picked this up at Hobby Lobby for $1.99. If you're patient and you drive by one every day, get your 40% off coupon, save 80 cents. It's not bad. But I'm going to go through, probably buy a couple more of these because this one I'm about a fourth of the way through already. I've done probably 100 and some axles with it, but we're going to go through, I'm going to show you how I use these, and then a couple little things I picked up while doing this. I've never done this before. Last night with John over here, we put sound in a QJ, and we put sound in a Dash 9, and I did a little bit of soldering, so I feel much more comfortable doing that. Thank you, John, for letting me kind of get my soldering skills back on your stuff instead of mine. I want to give a shout out to Ross Stone, one of my friends on Facebook, who shoots Wisconsin Southern, or Watco, if you want to call it that. And his photo actually made Atherin's page for their announcement for the Whamex patches over the SD60s. So way to go, Ross. Super proud of you, bud. Keep up the great work. So without any further ado, let's get going here. So I don't do anything really crazy. You can see I've got some wheels here already. And all I'm really going to do is pour these out and start weathering them. I do need a second bin here. So what we're going to do is grab another top of a bin, like that. Pour these guys out on top of here. And we've got the bag for when we're done with them. You can put those guys in the bag later after we clean them. So all I'm going to do is paint the surface of this wheel on the outside only. I'm not painting the inside and all that other crazy stuff. Just painting the outside of the wheel with a good layer of that flat rust. And the reason I use flat rust is after doing a little bit of this last night, I used a light brown and a flat rust. And the issue was, after them drying, stuff that wasn't flat rust had a nice shiny veneer. And you don't want that on your wheels. At least I don't. So I went back and had to repaint all of it with the flat rust. Kind of annoying, but it's a learning experience. So I found an easy way to clean them, to get the sides of the wheels cleaned off at the edge of the flange and the points, so it's not leaving all that gunk in your journals. So I'm going to start that right now. Alright, so I've got my wheels, got my needle nose pliers, I've got my pre-shaken paint. So last night I was doing so many of these for so long that the paint was starting to thicken on my brush and potentially in the bottle. So the big thing I want to do is avoid that. Here are the wheels that I'm doing, 36-inch metal precision wheel sets. I actually had a bunch of them that separated in the bag on the 33-inch. Sent Tangent an email about 6 new axles just to find out, hey, if I press these on myself, are they going to stay or are they going to come off like they did in the bag? So we'll wait to hear back from them before I touch those. But in the meantime, I've got some of these to do yet, so we're going to get to work. So I'm just picking this up with the needle nose, makes it a little bit nicer. We're just going to fill that in. So we'll make sure the entire interior surface is painted, like so. Make sure I see all of it. Yep. So the whole thing's painted, just nice and easy, one thin coat. Set it down. Usually with a good dip, you can get a couple of wheel sets done, and that'll get you, I don't know, a bottle should do basically a fleet. I'm a fourth of the way through. I did over 100 axles already. I did some semi-scales and whatnot. What I usually do is I just dip the end of the brush in the bottom, and then I just brush it against the end to get it so there's not a huge puddle on the end, because I've done that a couple of times, and let me tell you, it leaves a pool in the wheel, and you don't want a pool in your wheel. So just a nice thin brushing. I'll do another one here for you. Just like that. Go around, touch up the outsides. And when this dries, it'll look just like this. A nice flat finish. And then I'll show you how to clean that up. In the meantime, I'm going to fast forward now so you don't have to watch me do all of these in regular time. In fact, I won't even make you do that. Alright, so just like in the infomercials, that's done, and magically, boom, I got a bunch of dry ones. So, next thing I'm going to do is clean off my paintbrush, put this away. In fact, this paintbrush is pretty much trash. I might just pitch it because I do need to get a new one. You can see the bristles on here are getting pretty tore up. I've lost more than a few hairs, not just on my head, but on this brush. And it's time for a new one. Not to mention, you could totally do these with a fine tip, like it's just a fuzzy barb. That'd actually probably be a little bit cleaner. You could avoid this next step, but this is what I have access to right now, and I just wanted to get this done. So I'm just going to pitch this guy, as much as I love him. And now, we're going to clean. So what I do is, what we're trying to do now is clean the tips on these, just the points, and sometimes that little flat surface right around the edge right there, because normally when you see a train going by, that's polished clean. You're not going to see a whole lot of wheels going around where this part's dirty. And actually it comes off pretty easy. It's just a thin little layer of paint. Once it's dried, it's kind of brittle. So it should come off pretty nicely for us. The ones I did last night were a little bit more difficult. They're still kind of tacky, but these should all be nice and crisp. So let's just start doing a little bit of cleaning. So we're just going to take a small spot on the sponge here. Go like that. Now our point is clean, and most of the wheel surface is cleaned off too. And what's nice about that is in the prototype, it's mostly clean, and you got little chunks and pits and stuff that are rusty, so it gives you a nice little finish there. I don't know how well you can see that. There you go. So we got the point right here. That's cleaned off, so it sits in the journal nicely. So we're just going to do that for all these wheels. And again, it's just so that the journal doesn't get plugged up with junk. So, again, I'm going to be nice, not make you watch me do this in real time. I'm going to fast forward through this, and we'll go to the next part. Alright, so something I forgot to mention before is I'm just using a regular soap sponge with the scouring side. I just learned something new. So instead of doing the whole draining and stuff, some of you out there probably already know this, so be nice, okay? I don't need to like tear this whole sponge up. Last night I learned I had this whole side tore up doing a whole bag. But as you try things out and as you're working through the hobby, you learn new things, and this is one of my times of learning. If I just take this and push it in and spin it a few times, that cleans it up pretty well. Gets the surface of that outside that I want without destroying the inside, and it gets the pin clean. So I'm just going to do that. It's a little bit more work, but it doesn't tear up the sponge as bad, and does the same job. I have a little bit of that pin once in a while to get, but I can just play with that a little bit, get that off, and I'm not tearing up the sponge as much, so it lasts longer, and it does the same job, probably even a little bit better. So I'm going to continue doing this, and the next thing you guys are going to see is the next thing. Alright, so after you've cleaned your wheel faces off and the points, you're ready to install them in your cars. I've got a bunch of cars that have already been weathered because I don't do my own weathering because I'm not a true model railroader. I'm kind of an armchair model railroader. But I'm working on it. So here's our finished product. Now, These had plastic axles in them. These are Walther's mainline intermodal cars. And the reason I use Walther's mainline is because they're affordable, they're die-cast, they're heavy, they track great, they're easy to upgrade, and with a little bit of effort, you can make them look outstanding. So right now, doesn't that look pretty good with that brown paint in there? It's simple, it's light enough that you kind of get the redness for it, and then the shade or in the shadow it looks a little bit darker. But I think that turns out pretty good. You get that nice sheen on the sides just like you get on the real deal, and it matches the rest of the car and the trucks. So next thing I got to do is learn how to weather. But before we get to that, one thing I do want to try to do with these cars is instead of replacing these to make them look a little bit nicer like the Proto Brethren, what I might actually do is just use my pin vise. I have to find it, but I might just use my pin vise and try poking out one of these on one side just to see how it looks. If it looks good and it works out well, I'm going to keep doing it. Little by little, it'll basically take this from what it is from a Walther's mainline, in my eyes, to a Proto 2000. The stuff that I see on Proto 2000 that I like is the fine holes through here. It really makes it pop. I may have to add a little bit of weathering to it just to help it not stand out so much. We'll see. I'm going to try a few test holes, see how it looks. If it looks good, I'll keep going. If it doesn't, I'll stop. And as far as the wire grab irons here, these are cast in, and those look just fine to me. For the purposes, they look, all the rest of the details are just fine. But if you look at a train rolling by, this is what you're going to see is that nice shiny surface here. You can see, get that right there. You go. You can see that from however far away you're standing from the railroad tracks. That's how it looks in my eyes. So that's the look I want to achieve. That's the look I've got. I'm very happy with this. So I'm going to go swap out all my intermodal rolling stock with these nice tangent wheels. Should roll a lot better. You just saw that go a little bit back downhill here. It rolls super nicely now. The biggest reason I bought these tangent wheels was because operating this last Friday and the Superior Scenics layout, check out my other videos, I had some issues where these were causing a lot of drag with the plastic axles in them. And so I wanted to tune them up, so I took the trucks off, I hit them with my truck tuner from Micromark, and I wanted to put these in, but these cars are already weathered. Well, gosh darn, what do I do? Well, weather the wheels. So that's it for this video. Thank you all for watching. Shout out to Lombard Hobbies and to Hiawatha Hobbies, because they always have stuff in stock that I need for my projects like this. Specifically the wheels and the paint I got down at, or I got over at Hiawatha Hobbies and in Lombard. That you'll see in the next video, which is coming up, which is actually sound installation. I'm going to install 2 sound decoders and a couple of engines, and we're going to get to that here shortly in another video. But I wanted to get this out of the way. So you guys have a fantastic week and a fantastic weekend if this is uploaded in time. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.